We are going to be using our sponge brayer. Does anybody have one of these? If you have one, give me a thumbs up or a heart, a love, aka a love. I've used it before when I've made a video, but I designed this card for what's Mail Card Monday that I do every Monday, and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's really cool. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm trying to figure out my audio here. I apologize. Hey, Barbara Reed. How are you? I'm trying to share to the other group, so if more people would like to join us, they can. And then I will get started. All right, so let's get rolling here. So I am using a set that is an oldie. Happy Wednesday, Jody. And this one is called Waterfront. And hi, Lisa. It was actually designed by one of my favorite stampers. Her name is Connie Heisey, and she is the proud leader of the Proverbial Stamper Group. And this was her $1 million stamp set that she designed. So it is fabulous, and we are going to use it to add some accents to our card today. And of course, I brought Stella along too because you can't make a card without Stella. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So my card base is Early Espresso, and that's our 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. So I went ahead and scored that. I'm just gonna fold that in half over here. I do have my bone folder today, so I don't have to use my finger bone folder. And we're gonna put that aside. Okay, so the next thing that you are going to need is for this card, I use the nested labels dies, and they are found with the Free as a Bird as a bundle. So we all love to bundle and save. So this is something that will be carrying over, but it will not carry over as a bundle. So if it's something that you would like to purchase, you want to make sure you get it now so you can save the 10%. But let me show you inside. Here are all the nested labels, and they are wonderful. I'm not sure what I did without dies in general, but you could use a stitched rectangle on the front of this card, you know, a circle, whatever you would like. So I went ahead, and what you're going to do is you are going to have 2 pieces of cardstock, and they are going to be 3 1/2 by, I wrote it down. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. Okay. And the reason you need 2 is because one is going to be your mask, and I'm going to use this one because it has some little schmutz on the corner. So we're going to use the schmutzy piece. And then this one I will use to create my card. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And then you're going to need another piece that is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, because that's what we're going to do our sponge rolling on. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get myself together here. So what you're going to do is you are just going to place the piece that you've cut with your die over top of your other piece of cardstock. Whisper White. Okay, so Pear Pizzazz is what I chose to use, Crumb Cake, and Balmy Blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I started, and I am going to go top to bottom. Okay, and I have I have to change this a little bit. So you can see that this one is the one I used for blue. One of the great things about these sponges are you can wash them out, and just like we would kind of like our aqua painters, you know, we would wash those out and we can reuse those. These sponges are the same way, okay? They may not look clean, but I promise you they are. And so I'm going to open my ink pad. This is one of our newer versions, our sleek version, and lay it here on the side. And I am just going to rub or run, I should say run. Not too fast, but just run over top, okay? And I'm gonna hold this in place and get that off. That might be a cat hair. We might have a couple here, so sorry. If anybody's allergic, I promise you won't sneeze during this video. All right, I'm just gonna hold this and I'm going to roll this over top, just like so. So that's my balmy blue portion, okay? I'm going to close that. We all know that you should never leave an ink pad open because dangerous things can happen, like elbows get inked and things like that. So then this is the little roller or sponge that I use with my greens, okay? The green I chose today was Pear Pizzazz. So this is an old style, so I'm just gonna flip this over and again, I'm just gonna rub over the top. And less is more. And remember, you can always go back and you can always add more. So this is my Pear Pizzazz. Okay. You can see it's kind of light, but I'm okay with that because I'm gonna add some trees there. So I don't want that to overpower there. And you can also see it blends very nicely with the balmy blue, okay? And then last but not least, we are going to come back with the crumb cake. So we're gonna open this up. And we are again gonna change our sponges. And you know what the great thing is? When you purchase this, it comes with 3 sponges. So it's absolutely perfect. And like I said, you can rinse these out. So you can use them again, and it wouldn't have to be in crumb cake or brown. That's just, you know, kind of how I had it for the project. So let's go ahead. We're gonna ink these up. And if you have sponge stubbers, you can use them, but they honestly, I'm just gonna hold this, they do not give you the same effect. So it's more of a, I don't know, you can kind of see your finger color. Does that make sense? Your finger colorings in there. Okay, so there is my crumb cake. And you could do this with anything, with any colors. It's just a fun design. And if you wanted to, you could even use this mask and put it on, Lisa, that's awesome. I'm glad you're getting one. You could even put this on top of a card and, you know, put another scene behind it or something. So, you know, one stamper's trash is another stamper's treasure, I always say. So I'm sure you could find something to do with that. Alrighty. So we have this beautiful little nested label design here, okay? So then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna stamp my images on top just to give it that. So let's bring the card back so you can see it. We have the sky, we have the trees, and then we have the ground. And you'll notice that there's a little bit more detail on them than what you see after we just use the sponge brayer. And that's where, excuse me, the waterfront comes into play. So you can see these images here. They're great for adding water or kind of like the ground or earth, whatever you would like, and the trees, okay? So I am gonna start with my sky, and believe it or not, I am going to use, this is actually from the Poppy set. It's one of the little splooshes, for lack of better terms, from the Peaceful Poppies, all right? So I'm gonna come back with my inks that I've used for brayering. I don't know if that's a word, but I made it one today. And you can stamp outside of your image because we are gonna come back and we are gonna put this frame right on top of it, okay? So if you go outside of your image, it is a-okay. There's no need to stress, fret, or worry, okay? Then the next thing I wanted to show you is I pulled in another bundle, okay? This is the Mountain Air bundle, and when I saw this in the catalog, I just had to have it. So I haven't really created a lot with it. So this is my my projects next week will be with the Mountain Air. But I have to tell you, the Mountain Air had this perfect little bird, or birds, I should say. There's an S on there. There's 3 little birds in there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to add my birds here in these little pieces. And you know, for some of us, if Barbara Reed, if you're still watching, there's no such thing as too many birds. So I added an extra bird for her. Okay, so then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna use my Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to stamp some trees. Okay, so I'm going to do that there. All right, and I think I also used Old Olive too. So I am going to go over top of them with Old Olive as well. And one of the great things about the trees is you can make it look like you have a little or a big forest. So hi Naomi, hi Karen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp off to the side and see how it gives you that vision of like you're looking back into the trees. Okay. And I'll be honest with you guys, I left my Old Olive ink in the other room, but you know what? There was a little Old Olive marker that's sitting right here next to me. So one of the great things that you can do with our markers, segue, I meant to do this, is you can actually color on our stamps as well, just like an ink pad. So this is great. I'm going to ink those up and then I'm going to huff. Don't tell my mom, but she still might be in the studio audience. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the trees. And you can even come back and do as many as you would like. But isn't that cool with the trees, how that makes them look like that? All right, so that was Old Olive and Pear Pizzazz. And then we are going to finish up here with back with crumb cake. Hey Brenda, happy Wednesday. Thanks for stopping by. And this is I don't know, it can be water, it can be earth, it could be sky. You could even put it up here on your sky, but I chose to, okay, stamping, huffing is allowed, okay? Everybody, that was my mom and she said it's okay if we all huff. So there we go. So see what I did? I'm just going back and I'm adding to the ground. You can go over it as many times or as few times as you would like, depending on what the image, you know, what you're looking for with your image. So that's it. That's how I made that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we have our little mat and we're going to put over top of it. And of course, I know somebody out there is going to say, but Dory, what are you going to put that on with? And I'm going to say dimensionals, of course, because I love dimensionals. So we're going to flip this over, and with this project, usually I'm just, one in each corner and one in the middle. Well, obviously we don't have a middle. Our middle seems to be missing, which is an okay thing. But I'm going to do a couple on the sides because you'll notice it's a thinner layer and it also will buckle. So if you only have one on the top and the bottom, you'll notice it'll buckle a little bit, and we don't want that to happen. So I give you permission to use as many dimensionals as you would like to on this project, because I know a girl where you can get a great discount on your dimensionals. So just keep that in mind. All right. And dimensionals are great. They come 300 in a pack, so you can never have too many. All right, so here we go. We are going to go ahead and put this. What I do is I just kind of line up my edges there and then roll it over. And then you have your little mat and you have your scene. Isn't that cool? So you could create all kinds of different things with that, different images. The Waterfront set is a great one. We have the My Meadow set in our spring catalog as well. You could do something like this inside your little frame there. And Okay, so then we're just gonna go ahead. The next thing we need to do is just put our card together. And again, I chose the Early Espresso. And another thing I like about this card is it can be masculine or feminine, okay? So I know sometimes we struggle with cards for those manly men in our lives, whether, you know, be a husband, a brother, just a friend. So this is the perfect card. And I am going to add a piece of balmy blue. So this, I think the balmy blue really pulls everything together. I'm going to use my snail adhesive, just put a little bit in the corners and a little bit in the middle too. We don't want it to go anywhere. Handmade with love, right? Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to lie that flat. No more dimensionals. You can if you want, but you have to remember if you're mailing this, you don't want it to be too dimensionalized. That's a big word, because then you have to pay a little bit extra postage. Not that the person isn't worth it, I'm sure, but okay. So there is your card right there. The hello is from Grace's Garden, actually. That's the one I featured last week. And even if you're giving this to a manly man, you can still add a little bit of Stella on your clouds, okay? And just kind of just makes it pop a little bit. I even put it on my trees too. So, whoops, she just got a little wild over here on the side. Hopefully you guys can't see that. Nope, you can't. All right, so I just went ahead and went over top of my trees a little bit with the wink of Stella. And I even went on the bottom and just put a little bit of highlight in there. Okay. And then on my card, I stamped hello, because, you know, sometimes all you need is a little hello just to let somebody know that, you know, you're thinking of them. All right. So you can, it doesn't have room for much. So you could do a little hello or for you or something like that. And then you would go with a piece of cardstock. Obviously you would need a piece for the inside. Okay. And we are going to use our snail again. Love this stuff. And we will make our inside. And don't forget, you can always carry over to the inside of the card. So I love to maybe come back with a little tree down here at the bottom. Okay. And then you can also carry over to your envelope too. So if you have a little envelope and you want to put your little trees on the envelope, you can do that too. My motto is no naked envelopes. So I always love to stamp something on the envelope too. So you're just carrying over your little theme from your card there. All right. And the great thing about Waterfront is it does have sentiments as well. So love never gives up, and friends make the good times better. So I'm going to put on the inside of this one, because it says hello on the outside, or I'll make it say hello on the outside. And I think I'm going to use my old olive. I have my marker here again. One of the great things about the marker is you can just go over top of the sentiment or the verbiage, whatever you would like to call it. And you're going to huff. And you're going to, friends make the good times better. And you have your little trees. You have your tree on your envelope. And you are ready to put this card in the mail and send it to a friend. All right. So that is the sponge braying technique of the day. So if you guys have a sponge brayer and you want to try the technique, like you could do, you know, like a sunset with like orange and red and, you know, blues or purples or something. I would love to see what you create. And again, you can use a different, if you have a stitched rectangle or stitched circle, and